Okay, guide tones. So we have our C7, 1, 3, 5, 7. The guide tones of a C7 are E and B flat. So this is what we're going to be using to play our C7. That, right there. Okay, now we have this guy to remember, and we're going to go to our F7. And here we have the third of F is A, and the seventh of F is E flat. So there is our next chord right there. These are the guide tones, and that gives us all the chord sound that we really need. Now we're going to go to our G7, which is a whole step higher. Here's our G7. We already knew that, right? So then the third of this chord is B, and the seventh of this chord is F. So now we're going to talk about voice leading and economy of motion. So what I mean by economy of motion is I don't want to jump all over the piano to get my chords. So we're going to adjust these and make a nice smooth voice leading out of these three chords so that they blend together really well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stay with our C7. That's a good spot right there, so we're going to leave it alone. But our F7, even though it's not too horrible, we have to go up here to get that. So I'm going to invert this, or put this E flat on the bottom there. So now when I go to my F7 from my C7, I only have a half step to go. I can drop right to it. Now this is one of the reasons why jazz is so hard to learn, because when you're listening to an album, you don't hear a lot of movement, but you do hear a lot of chord change. So you're hearing lots of things happen, but almost no movement. And that's why it can be very difficult, because sometimes it sounds like the chord didn't change at all, because the voicings that the pianist or the guitarist or everybody, whoever is using, are very close together, so that you have a really good rhythmic aspect, but very little harmonic movement. So this is now a quick route to our F7. And while I'm here, I just want to talk again about technique and how to develop your hand. So if you use 5 and 2 here, then you go to your F7 with your thumb on the A and your ring finger on the E flat. So this can become a great way to train your hand and get the weaker fingers involved. And you can just go back and forth between that. Now remember, it may be really hard in the beginning. I didn't wake up with that ability. I had to do this very slow, like I'm doing it for you now. And in the beginning, it did not line up like this. It was clumsy, and the fingers didn't want to move, and that's completely normal. But you just want to keep going, keep trying, nice and slow, and then one day it's going to drop in there, and then it'll always be there for you. This is a great exercise to keep your hand developed. And then our last chord, we still need one more. We got our F7, and we go to our G7, and we have our B and our F. And I'm going to drop that F right there down to there. So this is really amazing how this works out, okay? Nobody could invent this, as beautiful as it is. So this is why I believe all music comes from God. So we're here, we went from this to a half step down to get our F. And now if we go up to our G, then to go back home, it's just a half step down. So again, we have almost no really audible chord sound change, and we have economy of motion. We can go this way, and then we could even go this way, or we can shift to our ring finger and end up back where we started. Now if I do this real quick, I urge you to do this too. I'm going to do it as always so you can see. I don't play like this, but I want you to see everything. So here's our C7. And here's our F. And here's our G. Then we go back to F if we want. And then we can go back to C. And back to G. So the next thing you would want to do after you get these down is you would want to put this into the form, which we've already shown, the form of the blues. The one we're using is the bare bones, totally simple, been around forever, 1-4-5 blues, because down the road I can add substitutions to it that will make real good sense to you, and it will be easy to throw those in. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I made a mistake in there, so I really need to clear that up for you. This was going 1, 2, 3, 4. Should have gone to the F. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then to the C. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I hope that will be okay, because I'm not going to really redo these videos. I like to do this just like if I had a student in the room. I never am ashamed of my mistakes. Everybody makes them. So we're just going to keep going, but please note that that was a mistake, and the correction is the way you want to go. We'll get back to that form in a second, but now we have a really great way to have a lot of sound. And by the way, this is something guitar players do really well in the older style of jazz. So you hear a lot of real simple chords playing on guitar, and they're a lot of times they're just doing the guide tones. So you have this really great groove that they cause